Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. We are so happy to be back today for our Fireside Chat. It is April, and we are going to be bringing some amazing content your way. Today, we have a woman in nonprofits, and she's using an innovative strategy to bring young people together across nations. I'm really happy to have Maryann, my new partner and friend, by way of Facebook. We got connected, and I'm really excited to have Maryann with us today. So we're going to get started in just a few moments. I do want you to share this message out. So if you are watching on Facebook, go ahead and hit the share button. It's okay to share it. And if you are watching on LinkedIn, you can also repost this um, fireside chat so that your networks can get a copy of it. We also want to acknowledge you. So if you are watching us from wherever you are, we'd love for you to put it into the comment box so we can acknowledge you. And of course, we want you to subscribe to our channels, whether you are on YouTube, iRaise Inc., on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn. Don't forget to follow us on those platforms. Also follow me at Shaniqua E. Moore on all social media platforms. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to our ATL Rise podcast. Every Friday, we're bringing new episodes to you. If I were you, I would subscribe right now, whether you're using Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, wherever you choose to listen to your podcast. So let's get started. Hey, Maryann.
Hi, Shaniqua. Thank you.
I'm so excited to be talking to you today, and I really appreciate your flexibility. I appreciate this opportunity to listen and learn from you, and to really learn about your story and what you're doing concerning our youth through storytelling.
Yes. Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here. And yes, let's go out and share what's happening on the life. It's a big world, and there's always space for everyone to do something to make life better for every one of us.
I love that. I love that so much, and I absolutely agree. I think that finding our place in the world is often a challenge, but I do believe that there is a place in this world for every single one of us. It's just where do we fit? It's
I
finding
lost you
ourselves.
for a bit.
Do we fit in?
I
No
think I
worries.
lost you for a bit.
No worries. We're gonna keep on rolling. You're good. No worries. So, what I actually said, I was just piggybacking off of what you said, and that was the ability to find our place or ourselves in the world. So that often is our challenge, right? Trying to figure out where do we fit, what do we do, what's our purpose, what industry do I belong to? But I'm glad that you are one of the people, Maryann, that's very multi gifted. You do multiple things. You're in real estate, but you're also running a nonprofit organization. And you've been able to reach kids in different culture groups across different countries. So we're really excited to learn from you. But what I want to do is formally introduce Maryann, our guest for today. She is
I
actually a social service executive with a degree in social work. She's focused on community development, and she is from Canada. Maryann received the Award of Excellence in Nonprofit Leadership and Management from the University of Michigan. She's also a member of the Society of Nonprofits, and she has over 16 years of experience in nonprofit sector, including working in three different countries, including Nigeria, Canada, and the U.S. Maryann recognized the need to empower women and youth of color by breaking down cultural barriers and location boundaries through inspiring storytelling. So here we have Maryann. She is a dedicated wife and mom of two middle school boys. She is passionate for real estate investment and also enjoys reading, listening to audiobooks, and spending time in nature. Maryann, again, it looks like she may have fell off, but may be coming right back on. So we'll continue rolling without Maryann until she gets on. But what I love about what Maryann is doing is she's actually using a very groundbreaking strategy called storytelling. And storytelling is something that, as I think, in nonprofit world, we have been trying to really utilize more often. And it's actually a tradition, if you will, and Black culture that stems from African traditions and African culture. And I think what's interesting is that there are a lot of things that we have done really, really well as Black people that we have lost when assimilating or coming into the US. And one of those things is storytelling. Storytelling is a powerful technique that has been used for many, many generations, way before coming into the US, that has allowed us to bring communities and villages together and use it as a way to also empower. So, Maryann, you're back.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Thank you.
We
Thank
just
you.
finished reading your bio, so just jumping right into it. What does storytelling
Wonderful.
mean to you? What is storytelling to you, and how? Why does it matter?
Wonderful. So, currently you see that we are in a very high technological world where there's a lot of information out there. People are overwhelmed with the amount of information that you can source on the web and everywhere. So when people have to go in and especially the youth and being children inclusive have to go out there and find some information on their own, it could be really overwhelming. And learning one directional way, sitting on the classroom and doing, which is very wonderful, it has its most strength. The putting the adding the additional perspective to it, or bringing story in a very creative and fun way of learning, is like a little more add on, to what is already beautiful. And children and youth tends to learn more through this storytelling approach than having to make it like another schooling, another regular format. So bringing storytelling has become a very, very, very crucial tool, and fun, creative as well in this generation that a little bit of thing can blow them off very easily. So that is a beautiful way we have found, and very effective in helping sharing this information that can be really very boring sometimes.
Tell me more about like where did it come from for you? Was it a personal experience that really helped you through storytelling? Or what? When did you begin to become inspired by it?
Well, it started actually in 2019, more like a dream, when the COVID era started. So, everybody has to be on a lockdown, and we have to teach the kids from home, having to transition the children from the normal, regular classroom setting to being in your home on the dining, on any other most luxurious and comfortable room to do learning was a little bit challenging. Kids needed a little bit of motivation and inspiration to do more than just the average. So that is when we started building the idea, started thinking, yeah, okay, maybe there is a way we can tell children stories, inspiring stories of people who have done great things, people who have made an impact, has contributed generously well in making the world a better place, so that children can see the journey, when they have to study and learn, so that they can be able to have the skill it takes to make the difference, and share them inspiring story of both children and adults. And these children were able to, especially my kids. So I have two boys, and I have to inspire them most of the times. And I see that, yes, if it could work for my children, it definitely is going to work for other kids. So I reached out to other people within my community and my circle of influence, and they were like excited. Yes, we can do this. And that is how we brought our Amber Life initiatives to and storytelling into it live.
I love that. And you talked about COVID-19. It was such a really scary time, I think, for the entire world. We really didn't know what was going to happen and what was going on. And there was so much unknowns. And, especially holds true for our kids that were really not understanding, probably was getting a whole bunch of confusing information, watching the news. We noticed in our organization that many of our kids were just really afraid. And so I think when we are thinking of ways to help kids, to empower children, to give them a voice, and to give them a platform to express themselves. I think that storytelling is that powerful tool that we can use. Um, do you agree with that, or what's your take on that, Maryann?
Definitely, totally. I agree with that. And when I bring it back to the discussion today, when we're talking about breaking barriers, cultural barriers, in youth through the storytelling, um, I think the important role that the storytelling plays cannot be overemphasized. I agree with you totally. And we are working hard on ways to actually improve on what we're actually doing. So I look forward to a better productive and effective measures as we continue to grow.
Tell us, what does it look like for one of the kids in your program to tell a story or to use storytelling? What does that look like for those that may not know or may not be clear?
Okay, wonderful. I think if you permit me, I will start by talking about when we're talking about the breaking of barrier, the storytelling, we have to connect to the why. And the storytelling is actually what we use in breaking cultural barriers. We use it as a tool in breaking these barriers. And culture, like I want to refer to it in this context, it refers to shared beliefs, interests, customs, behaviors, and artifacts that characterize a group or society. And you know very well, culture can include our religion, our language, our clothing, our food, our music, dance, and art, and many other things. But when we talk about breaking the cultural barriers in youth, this is when we refer to storytelling. We use storytelling to break down the stereotypes and misconceptions that can arise from different cultural groups. And we promote understanding, empathy, and respect for other cultures. So we use storytelling to, encourage the youth to learn about different life experiences and perspective of people from different cultural backgrounds. And we help them to develop a deep appreciation of the richness and the complexity of human culture, because this cannot really just be captured in words. The children need to see a real life story that can connect to these skills that we want them to learn, these perspectives that we want them to be aware of, and wherever they find themselves, that they can be able to get uh, to have an open mind, which is a prerequisite of, for me, for growth in this ever-changing dynamic world.
I love that, and I love how you broke down culture in a way that it incorporates our the norms of society, incorporates traditions, it incorporates attitudes and lifestyles, and what's really interesting is we're moving into a generation where kids want to connect to kids in other cultures, and there is a trend where kids are connected to other cultures. For example, I don't know if I'm even saying it right, but there's this K-pop, right? And it's essentially Asian, and it's really huge. Certain teens love K-pop, but it's an Asian type of, or Asian genre of dance and music. But yet kids in the US and Black kids are really into it, right? And so what we do see is this really interesting theme in our current youth. That's our Generation Z, our generation, the ones that are really trying to, and learning cultures through internet, through TikTok, through social media. And so we do see a very interesting trend of cultures blending and coming together in spite of being from different parts of the world. And so I love this technique being that sort of that glue that grounds and that brings and connects us all together.
Exactly. You got the picture. You just spoke about what we focused on as part of the mission for the organization is closing gap. We focus on closing a gap in access to these cultural educations, social cultural awareness and connections. So we make our programs, we decide to think of a creative way to make children to connect from wherever they are, irrespective of their location. So we have children joining us from Finland. We have children joining us from Canada. We have children joining us from Bolivia. We have, of course, our children here in US, and whenever they can join us from, as far as the time frame is what they can do, they can always join us. And in that way, the barrier of location is broken down, and these children from various cultures can come in and participate in the storytelling activities, and have one or two things to go back smiling, and a new knowledge they can say, yes, we have learned. So of course, I agree with you totally. Is bridging gaps in access to this information.
Yeah, I think this is such a larger discussion on culture. It reminds me of a meeting that I was at just a few moments ago. And thanks so much, Gold, for sharing, and shout out to Leonard for joining us. Thank you so much. And it's really interesting. We with this idea of culture. It's a much broader conversation. We use terminologies in social work and in nonprofit world and in government worlds like culture humility, but what does that really mean? Like, what does that really look like? And I think sometimes we bounce around these concepts without really having an understanding of what it looks like. And so I think it's important that we dig deeper into these concepts and use this not just in storytelling, which I love storytelling, but we have the conversation about cultural barriers and other in other ways. So using art, using music, these are other ways that we transcend culture, that we break through barriers, because there is a shared language around these types of things like music, art, and storytelling. But getting back to storytelling, tell us how much of an impact storytelling makes on the life of a child that engages in it.
Thank you for that question. Actually, we were just thinking how we can get like a comprehensive approach to getting all the positive impact that we have made using storytelling to inspire kids. So currently we have, I will speak about the one of the programs we have, which is Inspire Me Story for Kids, usually 15 years and below. We have other programs for teenagers, but the children who are involved in, I particularly know three of them who are involved in our program. From when we started this program to currently, these children have actually improved academically. they
Awesome.
they How did we measure that? We found out that two of them has actually enrolled into one of the school clubs where they do a lot of academic upgrade as like a upper class in academics, where
Mhm.
they do things that are relatively a bit above their grade level. And then we have a child that is currently nominated for National Junior Honor Society, which is a society where they can only invite you to come in, and your grade has to be, I think it's 90 and above to be invited. So this only happened when these children joined our organization. So yes, and we can always ask children that have a plain mind and a straight answer all the time. They're always excited to come back for the programs. And our program directors Sia and Oge, they're wonderful people. They know how to connect deep down with these children, and they come back feeling like, yes, we can make a difference with whatever we have, wherever we are. So I believe very much that this program is really impacting kids positively. And I wish I had time to bring a couple of them with me to come and say hi and share their own opinions.
I love that. Next time we have to definitely get them on. If other organizations are interested in using this, the power of storytelling to help their kids achieve positive outcomes, how would you advise them?
Wonderful. So using storytelling, we do that knowingly or unknowingly. The only difference is that we have a very evidence-based format that can really impact kids. in approaching storytelling. We do storytelling all the time. We tell our kids, didn't you see that JJ is doing well here? Didn't you see that, Sam is doing great over there? And then they did this. We only have a very evidence-based approach to it. So I advise them to collaboration is a good effort. Collaborate with people sharing stories so that we can bring these stories together, distribute them to places that they will be more impactful. Share stories, go through it and break it down in the ways that your audience will be able to assimilate the knowledge or the values, the skills that you want to share through the story. Very important, because you don't want to share the story and the kids will leave and they forget why they were there. Your audience won't be able to connect very well. So, yes, my advice is to collaborate, break down the storytelling to formats that your audience will better benefit from. And of course, distribute them to the places where we know will change lives, where people will benefit from listening and hearing what the story has to share.
Thank you so much for that. That's really powerful. I love that. And I think it's so important that we are using evidence based models like this. And we're thinking about services that engage youth. They have to be very different from what they've always been,
Exactly.
because these young people engage very differently. They
Exactly.
connect in a way that we've probably never seen before. So I love that you're integrating the technology part, which is through videos, and I love that. Like you're utilizing their language, you're utilizing, and you're connecting to them in a place where they really understand. So that's absolutely amazing. And if there are people that are interested in learning more about the storytelling program, or learning how they can use that evidence based model, how can they reach out to you?
Yes, so they can always visit our organizational website, which is amalifeinitiatives.org. Is amalifeinitiatives.org. Or you can visit our YouTube channel, register with one of our programs, and you can see some of the stories that we shared with the children. We don't have all of them yet online because we work with volunteers and it takes a little while to get everything up there. But there you will see samples where we tell children stories about, the Child Time magazine, um, personality of the year, where we share about the stories of Malala, the young lady who made the impact. Those stories, those both adults and the children. We have stories over there, and they can connect with us on our Facebook page, on our LinkedIn or Facebook website as well. So yeah, we'll be happy to have them over for the programs live.
Thank you so much, Alma. I'm almost calling you. I'm calling you the name of your organization.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's all good
Great.
too.
And before we go, can you explain the name, where that name came from?
Yes, Ama, it's a short name from a middle name, Amaka. Amaka is a Nigerian name and it's my middle name. So it's definitely just named after the founder. Um, so that it can relate us back to culture. Amaka is a cultural name, and Ama is like a symbol. They're reminding us that um, culture is something that we identify with it and go with whatever culture that life has presented to us through life. So it means beautiful, it means nice, it means good.
Uh,
Amaka from Amaka, yes.
Everyone say Amaka. We just
Yeah,
learned a word. I
yeah,
love
that's the beginning, but it's
That's the
good
beginning of
and
the word.
beautiful. Life initiatives, yes.
I love that so much. It's so fitting, and just continue the work that you're doing with our youth. I love the what you're bringing, and I think it needs to be heard. And I think the uh, education programs need to look at this and pay attention to a model like this, because it's getting results, and we need to think of out of the box techniques, and this is one of them. Thank you so
We
much.
really need to. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you all for listening and for watching, uh, and for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed this fireside chat. We appreciate you for following our content. Don't forget to share this message and comment. Let us know your thoughts. We want to hear from you. And if there are specific things that you want us to talk about, please reach out to us. We are available. You can DM us on iRace Inc. page. You can email us at info@iraceinc.org. But definitely reach out to us and let us know how we're doing, what you're thinking, and what you want to see, because this is definitely all about community, empowering you, and bringing content that matters the most. Thank you all again so much. Quick announcements. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media platforms at iRace Inc. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I see our subscribers are increasing. I'm super elated to hear that and to see that. But don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. It would allow you to be first notified whenever there are new content and videos. And we don't just have our fireside chats, but we have multiple channels within our YouTube channel that you can actually enjoy, from music to art to parenting to mental health and medical discussions to many, many more. So, subscribe. There are benefits to subscribing. Don't forget to also follow us and follow me on Shaniqua E. Moore on all of my social media platforms. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to ATO Rise Podcast. Tomorrow, we are in for a treat. I hope you enjoyed last week's on incarceration, and from CEO to, incarceration to purpose. It was a powerful podcast. If you did not get to listen to it, please go ahead immediately to your podcast app and listen to it, because it is a powerful episode. And lastly, tomorrow we have our very own Skylar, who is going to be giving us some wisdom, some real wisdom and some nuggets. She's 8 years old. She's one of our very own, and she is a CEO and an 8-year-old boss. Powerful testimony and story of how she was adopted and now is creating adoption bags for kids in foster care and for kids that want to be adopted. We're bringing these this content to you again because it matters, and we are in the business of empowering and uplifting and moving our communities forward. Thank you all again. Stay tuned to next week. We'll see you soon. Maryann, I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm
Thank you.
alive for
It was
your,
a pleasure.
and this is the beginning of our partnership. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
And
Bye.
everyone.